Hello YouTube, Dave here again. About a week ago I picked up these newer versions of the spellbook cards for the Ranger class. I noticed that Gale Force 9 has sort of republished these, and all of the sets that came in smaller boxes, such as the Ranger cards, the Paladin cards, and the Martial and Racial Power cards, are now suddenly all in these larger boxes. And it just kind of made me wonder, since we have the double-sized cards for the monster decks, if at the same time they sort of went back and maybe redesigned the original cards to make them, fit on the larger sizes, which means you could probably increase the font size, and they might make them a little bit easier to read. Now, I have had a very tough time trying to find any information on these newer versions of the cards. It's been a little bit frustrating. Even going on to the Gale Force 9 website, it just doesn't show anything. Like, they haven't actually updated the product listing at all. And when you click on it, it just shows the image of the box, but it doesn't give like the dimensions of the cards or anything else. Also, the version number is no longer printed anywhere on the box that I can find, and I've tried looking. And so for an example, it says version 3 right on the bottom of the Ranger cards. So where the Ranger is my favorite class, I kind of want to keep this actually sealed. I will admit that is a full-on collector side of me. Since I already have like the actual cards themselves, I don't think they've actually introduced any new cards in here, because they both have the exact same number of cards. And just like I said, trying to find information has been a little bit difficult. Even shaking the cards, or shaking the box to see, how much it rattles, there's a little bit of a rattle, but not much. So they're either larger cards or they've got some sort of holder inside the box. So I do have a bit of a workaround for that, which may give me an indication of what the cards in here might be like. But before I get to that, I just want to mention one more little teeny tiny nitpick, and this is absolutely a nitpick. This is something that will probably not matter to the majority of people out there. But when it comes to displaying these cards or these boxes on my shelf, I like to do them in alphabetical order, with the arcane cards starting on the left side of my shelf, and continuing down alphabetically. It's just the way that I've always sort of liked to do it. Going from right to left alphabetically just seems a little bit odd to me, and that's just, again, a personal preference, and this is all just personal preference. But what I have here are some of my other spellbook cards, and this is basically where they would sort of be on the shelf. I do have the smaller boxes sort of flanking the larger ones, just for symmetry purposes, to make them look a little bit better. But what I have here are my Druid cards, my Cleric cards, and my Xanathar's Guide cards, because alphabetically the Ranger cards would go in between the Druid and the Xanathars. So what we have here is we've got, the top all lines up well. This side lines up well with the top of the word on the left side, on the left edge of the box, and just like that. So it lines up really well, and like the backs obviously are all the same as well. But the issue is when you put the new Ranger cards in here, so again, having the back of the box line up properly with these, you have a situation where now they're not lining up properly. Now, there's also an issue with like the spellbook or magic item cards, and I think the monster cards, where the magic item cards I think are actually like completely flipped upside down, so they look even worse because they have like the D&D logo at the top of the box and not the bottom, like some of the other ones have. But anyway, so that's, again, a little bit of an issue. Now the tops line up perfectly fine, and the other side lines up actually properly. But since I like to have them alphabetically left to right, it's a little bit jarring. But again, that's going to really be an issue for probably myself and like 3 other people. But if you have sort of an OCD about how you present your products, then that might be a little bit of an issue. And ultimately, I may have to flip everything over just to make them line up properly. But anyway, like I said, minor nitpicks aside. So, like I said, I have a bit of a workaround to see if the cards in the larger box versus ones that were originally presented as smaller ones might have actually increased in size. So to that effect, and this may not be the perfect one to go with, but it's one that I wanted to get, and I'm glad that they actually had it in the store when I was in just the other day. And that is the Tarokka deck for the Curse of Strahd adventure. So this is the original version. This is the printing that came out in 2017. So I guess I shouldn't say it's the original version. It's the second printing, basically, as far as I understand. But they came in this smaller sized card box, the same size as the Ranger one, and it has just like the same regular size cards that we are all used to, along with some instructions for an actual card game that you can play with these cards, which is kind of interesting. So we have the artwork there, and we have the size of the card. So I'm just going to put these there, just in case they are the same size. I don't want to confuse everything, but what I have here is the new larger sized Tarokka deck, and again, just so you can see, it is definitely a larger box, and you would see it in the thumbnail, I guess, as well. But all the packaging looks to be the exact same. All the information on the back looks to be the exact same as well. So it says, the Vistani have long been masters of fortune telling in the hands of a Vistani seer. Tarokka cards can tell can tell tales of the future and provide answers to many a dark and mysterious question. And then it has the quote, "Many doors will be opened, many secrets will be revealed. Don't ask me how or why. Just follow the message of the cards," by Rudolf van Richten. And they have 54 cards, as well as the rules for Prophet's Gambit. So again, we've got everything here, and on the bottom, it just has the. It does even have the year. Oh yeah, it's got 2018 on there. So, but again, it's the larger size box. So let's have a look and see what we've got in here. So if these cards are the same size as the original ones, then it would probably stand to reason that the Ranger cards have similarly remained the same size, and they just made the boxes bigger for, I guess, for symmetry purposes, or maybe just for the ease of production, maybe, if they're all the same size. So just give me a second here, just to get through the plastic. These things are, I will say, they are sealed quite well. Alright, I think we got her here now. Alright, so these ones will also open from the side as opposed to from the top, like all the other larger cards here. So let's just go ahead and find which side opens easiest. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see what we got here. Alright, they are in a plastic tray. And they are the exact same size. So I guess that solves that mystery. I'm actually probably not going to open the actual deck itself at this point in time. It almost seems like these might be a little bit thicker. So it could be a thicker cardstock that's being used. But the overall size seems to be pretty much the exact same. They might be a smidge taller, but not enough to really get worried over. And yeah, so there's a plastic tray inside holding the cards, and that kind of makes sense now. Because again, when you shake, you can feel something shaking in there. That seems like it should be small, but it's not really rattling around, so that must be the situation. So I guess that solves the mystery, and that means I can keep this particular deck sealed and just have it on my shelf to enjoy as the collector side of me, and still have a set in order to use at the gaming table. So anyway, actually, I guess we should also have a look and see if those rules are in there, because I actually don't see them. in the original deck, there was a paper. Oh, huh. Alright, actually, I guess we're not quite done here. Maybe the deck looks thicker because they may have printed the rules for the card game on cards themselves. So let's open it up and find out, because if it's missing... My plan was actually to give away the smaller deck to... I have a friend who's been pretty generous towards me, and you know, like offering to, you know, give me lifts back and forth, you know, especially during HalCon, without having to, like, you know, pay towards parking or anything like that. You know, gave my daughter a collector's edition of a comic. So I'm just curious as to, yeah, I'm just curious to see if there is maybe, now the cards do feel different. So let's just sort of keep going with that one. So they are glossy. But it doesn't look like... See, I thought they may have just printed the rules for the card game. Whoop. On some of these cards, but it does not look like that's the case. So I may have to contact Gale Force 9 and see why there's no rules for the Prophet's Gambit in here. And again, I'm not missing anything. So that's interesting. I'm wondering if maybe they're just not printing the rules anymore. You can just download them. I'll have to look into that, I guess. But so I guess to answer the question, these do actually feel... they do feel a bit different. They're, you know, have a glossy finish on them. And they do feel a bit thicker. Like these ones feel, you know, quite a bit flimsier by comparison. But I am a bit concerned that the rules for the card game aren't there, so I think I'm going to end up taking this out in case I do give this the other deck to my friend there. And I'm going to put these in here for now, but I will contact Gale Force 9 and see if it was just something that they forgot to include, like a production issue. Anyway, but there you go. So I guess now we know that these larger size card boxes have the exact same or similarly sized cards, but they come in a tray. And honestly, I kind of like the larger box overall. I think it presents better on the shelf if you're able to sort of have the more uniform look of having these larger boxes on there. So I definitely do appreciate that. And yeah, so I don't think I'm going to actually go out and replace the other two decks at this point in time, like the martial abilities or the paladin cards. I might, but I'm not 100% on that yet. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this was informative. So if you're trying to wonder, or if you're wondering what these larger boxes, if they have anything different about them, the answer is a plastic tray inside the box. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Oh, and if any of you watching this have this updated version of the Tarokka deck, let me know if you had the instructions for the Prophet's Gambit card game included in your box or not, because that would be really useful information to have. Anyway, thank you guys once again. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Take care.